Hey everybody, welcome back to another First Impressions. This time around, I'm taking a look at the third studio album by Father John Misty titled Pure Comedy from 2017 on Sub Pop Records. So I had a chance to really sit down and listen to this album, and it's interesting because it's a downer. I am not that enthused to talk about it, and that's not because it's a bad album, but it's because he's speaking about a lot of things that make him sad, and it comes out in the music, and this isn't a very cheerful album, not at all. There's a profound sadness and aching throughout this whole album, and it's kind of beautiful in that sense. I mean, I found myself sort of relating to a lot of the things he's talking about, especially with technology and how much it's sort of taking over our lives in a way. You know, this is probably the first time I really notice how sort of intellectual his lyrics are, and sort of not just so much ironic as much as an absurdist. Like his music on the surface has this very 70s piano rock sound. Like it has this very rich analog sound to it, nostalgia tinged, however you want to look at it. But the lyrics are very much contemporary of today and of society's woes and sort of his perspective, his outlook on all that. And I'll be honest when I tell you that a lot of it goes over my head. I don't exactly know what he means by a lot of these lyrics. And it's one of those things that bears repeat listens. Like, it rewards you for diving a little deeper, giving it a second listen, a third listen, a fourth listen. Listening to it in different moments of your life might open up different perspective ideas as you listen to it. I will say that this is probably, for me, his most consistent album. It feels very much like one cohesive piece versus, say, I Love You Honey Bear, which felt sort of uneven. There was some almost pop songs on it, and then there was more ballady type numbers, more very Father John Misty type songs, and I just felt, you know, some songs I loved, some songs I didn't, whereas this album, I really enjoyed the whole thing. There are a few songs I enjoyed more than others, and I'll get into that in a bit. I actually recently picked up his debut album, and I feel like this album has a lot more in common with his debut. So if you enjoyed that more, say, than I Love You Honey Bear, I think you're really gonna dig this album. So yeah, let's get into the music, why not? So it opens up with Pure Comedy, and which is such a funny title because it's a ballad. It's a very slow moving song. I thought that's kind of an interesting choice for an album opener. So the next song, Total Entertainment Forever, really kicks the album up a notch. It's a little bit more upbeat, and I really enjoyed it. Check it out. Now, following suit is track 3, and this song, again, it's another consistent song with the rest of the album. It has a very Father John Misty sound, but what I really like are the horns on this one. Sometimes I miss the time of the food. So track 4 is Ballad of the Dying Man. This is probably my favorite song off the album. I love the chord progression and the melody, and the choir that comes in at the end is really, really cool. So this is basically about the internet and leaving your mark on the world, and just sort of how fleeting the internet can be, and just the lyrics are very interesting. He's writing from the perspective of a guy who's on his deathbed, and he has to check his news feed one more time just to see what he's gonna miss. Okay, so side 2 begins with a song called Birdie, and this is where it really becomes interesting to me. I love the sound of this song. It really reminds me of, well, this is the imagery I got, is that he's playing this sort of out-of-tune, waterlogged piano on a piece of a boat that got broken apart and he's floating down this river singing this song. And it's just sort of the effects that are going on, the little digital things that are happening in here, and the sort of Brian Eno atmospheric sounds. And I think especially because this is in waltz time or 3/4, it has that sort of sea shanty kind of feel. And all those elements kind of give me this idea of water. And this is just a really cool song to listen to. It's probably my 3rd favorite song off this album. Check it out.
Take off, little winged creature.
So the second song on side 2 is Leaving LA, and this is a really kind of a long, meandering song, but it never really gets boring, which I find interesting. And I actually see a lot of parallels between this song and the Bob Dylan song, A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, in the sense that they both kind of have, they don't really follow your classic song structure, verse, chorus, verse. It's just a bunch of verses. And in the case of this song, it's about 10 different verses, and it pretty much takes up 2/3 of the record.
Still I dreamt of garnering on rave reviews.
So side 3 opens with Bigger Paper Bag, and this is really my least favorite song on the album. It feels like it drags on a bit, which is interesting because it's only 4 minutes. By saying it's my least favorite, I still enjoy the song when I listen to the album. I don't skip it. It's just, if I were to like pick it out of a lineup, this wouldn't be my first choice.
Never know anyone who could lose himself in a bigger paper bag.
Track 2 is When the God of Love Returns, There'll Be Hell to Pay. Long title. I actually really like this song. I love the piano playing on this, specifically because it adds this warmth, this sturdiness, this support to his vocals, and the use of a choir is really, really good on this track. I mean, I don't know if it's actually a choir. It could just probably be a couple of vocals double tracked with a lot of reverb, but still, the production on this track with all the different elements really works for me.
It's just human nature. This place is savage and unjust.
So track 3 is Smoochie, and I really enjoy the use of a pedal steel guitar on this. I also like the fact that he double tracks his vocals, but the second vocal track has this distortion on it, and it's kind of lower in the mix, so it sort of lends this, not evil, but sort of like someone lurking in the shadows, someone like right behind him, which if you listen to the lyrics, he kind of talks about that, and it comes up at certain times where he talks about the shadow behind my back, and I feel like that vocal effect sort of personifies that idea in his lyrics. So I really like that use of the vocal effects. Also, I just feel like this is another great ballad song. I definitely enjoy this one.
When my personal demons are screaming.
So track 4 is 2 wildly different perspectives, and for me, this almost sounded like a Radiohead song because of the use of strings, the little digital artifacts, and the backward drums. Check it out.
Either way, some blood is shed. Thanks to our cooperation.
So the last song on side 3 is the Memo, and it's at this point I really start to understand Father John Misty's perspective on the world, or maybe more specifically the digital world, and he uses these male and female computerized voices while he's singing, and to me that really sells the point of this song and just sort of how digital life is overtaking our real life. It's an interesting song. And again, it's not my favorite song on here, but I think in the context of the album, it really works.
I mean indie crunch.
In terms of sex appeal and cultural significance.
Irony.
Side 4 opens with some Growing Old on Magic Mountain, which is just a great title to begin with. And this is probably my third or second favorite song. I can't really remember exactly where it falls with some of the other ones, but I love the chorus of this song.
I'm growing old. Oh, on Magic Mountain.
When the song ends, it actually keeps going. It has this really long instrumental outro that really kind of sells the whole song for me, because while listening to it, it can be kind of depressive. The instrumentation during the instrumental part has this little glimmer of hope, especially in the piano playing. Like, it's not all bad and it's all not just a dark hole. It's maybe more of a tunnel with a little bit of light at the end that you can just barely make out. The album ends with "In 20 Years or So," and this song stands out for me because it's very sparse. There's not a lot of words, especially when you compare it to some of the earlier tracks on the album. But this one is very small, specific, intimate, and I like it for that.
The piano player's playing, this must be the place, and it's a miracle to be alive.
Let's talk about the packaging, because I gotta preface this with a little PSA saying, don't have a little drinky drink and then decide to buy some albums. Because I was all set to get the basic edition, but because I had a little bit of rum in me, I went and opted for the deluxe edition. I just thought it was so cool, I had to pick it up. It comes in a transparent slipcase. You pull that out. You get these lovely illustrations. I love the design of this, and on the back here, it's die cut. So let's pull out the record sleeves real quick here. Yeah, this first one's got some watercolor with the moon and stars, and then you have more of an orange sunset. And then the other one, I don't know what's going on here. It's pretty cool though, kind of a green foil going on. And then there you got a rainbow. I just thought this was so cool because you can kind of choose how you want to display it, which I love. I love kind of customizing your record. Look at that. Or you could do it this way. There's a lot of thought that went into this, making sure the design worked both like this and on the back and out of the sleeve. So there you have a different design coming through the window. I think you guys get the point by now, but I'm just having fun. It also comes with this poster, and you got more illustrations, almost a parade. I wonder if those sort of represent each of the songs somehow. And on this side, you have the lyrics following with some legal stuff. Also included with this edition, came with this hologram tarot card. It's kind of interesting he thought to include this, and it came pre-packaged in this little sleeve. And then so the records themselves come on sort of a semi-transparent, what they call aluminum and copper, but really this looks like hand soap to me. I mean, it's still pretty, but it really reminds me of that soft soap stuff. And then you have the labels on both sides, which are pretty much the same label design on both records. And then here is that copper color. It looks a little bit less like soap, but it still has that appearance to me. I really enjoyed this album, but like I said, it's not a happy-go-lucky album. This isn't one I want to go on a road trip listening to. It's not going to keep me awake at night, but I think for those moments in your life when you maybe didn't have the best day, or things didn't go your way, or maybe it's a little cloudy and you're just feeling introspective, this is a great album to put on and just sort of relax and appreciate life and appreciate that you're alive. And I think that's gonna be the way to listen to this album. And in a lot of ways, this is like Father John Misty refined. It's distilled, it's been aged a little bit, it's a little smoother overall. I really, really like this album. This might actually be my favorite album of his, or at least of the Father John Misty albums. I haven't really gone into his previous work as Josh Tillman. So anyway, that has been my first impressions of Father John Misty's third album, Pure Comedy. I recommend picking it up, giving it a spin, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Until then, I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Hey guys, thanks again for checking out this installment of First Impressions. Now, if you want to see more on Father John Misty, check out my pick of the week where I feature his second album, I Love You Honey Bear. And you can also check out more First Impressions by clicking that playlist, or you can reach out to me on social media by clicking those links there, or hit subscribe if you haven't already.